Good evening and many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV. We're broadcasting live from our studios on Calabar Avenue, and this is the news with me, Ansmane Sonyasi. Well, here are the main local and international news headlines. Following the public release of its final report, the TRRC has issued a press release requesting the submission of applications for those seeking amnesty. The Director of Health Promotion and Education at the Ministry of Health has disclosed that there has been a rapid increase in COVID-19 cases in the Gambia after Christmas and the New Year. And as the tourist season gets into full swing, Adamanjai, the Director of Marketing at GT Board, tells us what is being done to ensure tourists come into the country healthy and are safe while on holiday. The PR of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services has told QTV during a visit to Kotu Fire Station that the Fire and Rescue Services carry out their duties with professionalism despite their resource challenges. And in international news, the African Continental Free Trade Area, launched on the 1st January 2021, is one of the flagship projects of the African Union's Agenda 2063. 1 year on, we ask, how is it shaping up? Well, stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. And now we take a look at the news in detail. Now, following the public release of its final report, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, TRRC, has issued a press release requesting the submission of applications for those seeking amnesty. More in this report.
The Truth Commission's final report, issued publicly on the 24th of December, recommends prosecution of several individuals for a string of offences, including crimes against humanity, killings, torture, and enforced disappearances, amongst other crimes. At the press conference for the report's public unveiling, a call was made for applications of amnesty from adversely mentioned persons. It set out, in broad terms, the conditions under which amnesty was available. The press release, issued on the 4th of January, calls for applications for amnesty to be submitted to the TRRC Secretariat at the former Dunes Hotel in Kololi by 12:30 p.m. on Friday, the 21st of January 2022. The application must be in relation to criminal responsibility as stated in the findings and recommendations made by the Commission in its report. It does not affect persons who were recommended to be banned from office or other punitive measures. The TRRC Act further provides that a person may qualify for amnesty if the person has made a full disclosure of his or her involvement in human rights violations and abuses and expresses remorse for his or her acts or conduct. The applicant for amnesty should make a full and truthful statement in his or her application on their involvement in human rights violations as found by the TRRC in its report. In addition, the applicant must have expressed genuine remorse for their participation in human rights violations and abuses. All applications must be submitted in writing to the TRRC, and this can be done in person at the TRRC's premises or via electronic communications to this email, amnesty@trrc.gm. Once again, amnesty@trrc.gm. Persons who have already submitted their applications to the Secretariat, which meets the above criteria, do not have to resubmit. However, all persons must submit their applications before the 21st of January 2022. The Commission states that where it has refused an application for amnesty, it will, as soon as is reasonably practicable, give reasons for the refusal in writing to the applicant and to any other person who, in relation to the offence, is a victim. A reminder, the date for submission of applications for amnesty is by 12:30 p.m. on the 21st of January 2022. For QTV News, I am Ade Darami.
And now on to some health news. The Director of Health Promotions and Education at the Ministry of Health has disclosed that there has been a rapid increase in COVID-19 cases in the Gambia after Christmas and the New Year. Fatusi Sanyang reports.
Festive season is traditionally a time when friends, families and loved ones come together to celebrate. However, this can lead to the spread of the coronavirus if health guidelines are ignored. The Director of Health Promotion, Modunjai, gives an update on the rise in cases.
With regards to the numbers, the reason why the numbers are increasing on a daily basis, if you look at the situation report recently, which is the 414th National Situation Report, the country has recorded 206 confirmed positive cases of COVID-19 in the Gambia. 10,376 confirmed cases. This is not encouraging, and I think it's important for people to know that numbers are increasing, and we have been advising people.
Mr. Njai urges people to adhere to the precautionary measures, including wearing face masks and practicing social distancing.
One is to ensure that people wear face masks. That's also one of the messages we have been giving to people. We're also encouraging people to continue hand washing with soap and water. If they don't have soap, they can still use sanitizer. We also need to advise people to observe physical distancing and also to avoid, crowd, and as well as also to get vaccinated.
Mr. Njai further stated that the Ministry of Health is willing to work with organizations for a massive vaccination campaign in the fight to eradicate the pandemic.
We are not saying everybody. We cannot reach out to everybody, but we are targeting 60%. And we cannot achieve the 60% coverage without the full participation of the people. My appeal to the Gambian people is to embrace, accept, and welcome our vaccination teams wherever, because they have been welcoming them. The Gambian health system, people have a trust in the Gambian health system, and they've been welcoming our teams wherever. So, and I think we've done that. We got the huge welcome from the communities in the Greater Banjul area, Banjul and KMC. So we want that welcome to continue. The people of the Gambia are very nice people, very open people, and they have a trust in the teams. So that trust should continue.
As of the 5th of January 2022, the Gambia has recorded 10,376 cases and 343 deaths. For QTV News, I am Fatisi Sanya.
Now, still on health-related news, as the tourist season gets into full swing, the Gambia Tourism Board and partners are on high alert for the arrival of tourists as the world continues to battle the COVID pandemic. In an exclusive interview, Adamanjai, the Director of Marketing at GT Board, confirms what is being done to ensure tourists come into the country healthy and are safe while on holiday. Babu Karsi has the rest of that story.
The COVID-19 pandemic has hit the world hard, with Gambia not an exception. Tourists play a key role in our GDP, and the past 2 years have witnessed a decline in the number of tourist arrivals due to the pandemic. However, things are much better this year, according to Adamanjai, the Director of Marketing at GT Board, who told us in an exclusive interview that despite the country's long wait for the tourist season to open, they are very cautious about the arrivals and are making sure that those coming into the country follow health protocols.
It is very clear that we have adopted a protocol that is shared by all tourism players to the extent that even before the season starts, almost all tourism workers have been vaccinated. I think that's the first thing that we did to give confidence to our guests that are coming, because the moment you are vaccinated, it gives confidence that the chance of getting the virus is very minimal. I think another thing that we have done is we have also have a team of inspectors that will go to the hotels or the restaurant to check whether things have been done according to the protocol.
Despite the lower number of arrivals compared to pre-COVID years, Mr. Njai insists the numbers are good, as they were not even expecting to reach this far.
I can tell you, if it was not the COVID, we would see something different. I can tell you, in 2019, we were 235,000. So we were actually moving to 8.5 million by this time. But it was in 2020 that you can see our figures went up to 89,000 air arrivals. And right now, that is 9,000. There were no flights like Corendon or TUI UK or even Air France daily. Now we have that. So if all things been equal, I think we should be able to come back or bounce back earlier than expected. But cautiously, with the new variants coming up now, anything is possible. I think we are monitoring the situation closely, but apart from that, we're happy with what we have for now, because we weren't expecting such numbers coming.
Mr. Njai, however, added that the COVID is one issue, but making sure that tourists come into the country safe and sound is another priority. As such, they are working with the security services to make sure the safety and well-being of every tourist is not taken for granted.
Without security, you don't talk about tourism. Tourism is talked about because of security. Tourism is talked about because of the conducive environment. Tourism is talked about as a country, as Gambia, because of our hospitality. We cannot miss out on these three. And that is why, because the moment they come to this country, they feel safe. And for me, that's what tourism is all about. When you leave your country to come, you should be seen as you're coming to a safe environment. And that is why we don't compromise with our security. We always make sure that, we do monitor what happened, to the extent that even now we have a toll number, which is 1030, that if there's any emergency, they can call that 1030 number.
Adam Njai was asked to clarify claims on social media accusations that the tourism board gave orders to the security personnel to stop Gambians from accessing the beaches at night during the holiday season. This is his response.
The issue of depriving Gambians from going to the beach, I think that is just a campaign that is unfairly done.
The tourism sector was hit hard by the pandemic, but with the new protocols of testing and vaccination, tourists are abiding by the laws, and it is hopeful that more tourists will come in the new year, while the Tourism Board and the Ministry of Health continue to monitor the COVID-19 pandemic as new variants emerge across the world. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
And that report there by Babu Karsi will lead us to a short commercial break, but we will be right back. Don't go away.
Buy Parfum, the first perfume bar in Gambia. Buy Parfum, it's another way to perfume yourself in a luxurious and attractive shop called Buy Parfum. Come and find rare and natural churai flowers, and also the fragrances of the biggest popular brands: Oud Private Collection, Air Freshener, Flora, Venus, Fresh 24, and many other products. With Buy Parfum, discover the perfume bar, a new concept in the world. Personalize your scents with the perfume bar. With the perfume bar, choose the perfume that looks like you. Buy Parfum, 54 Kayoraba Avenue, opposite to American Embassy. You can join us on 77000225 or 529-1888. Buy Parfum Gambia. You will really love it.
Welcome back from a short commercial break. Be reminded you're watching QTV News and we're broadcasting live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. And I'm Answane Sonyasi. Now, the PRO of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services has told QTV during a visit to Kotu Fire Station that they carry out their duties with professionalism despite their resource challenges. Mamoudou Gajaga has more.
A visit to the Kotu Fire Station has given us first-hand information on the work of the fire and rescue officers. They have an operational procedure in executing their work and making so their equipment is in order. Pate Jiba, the PRO of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services, explains.
What happened later is to make sure that the vehicle itself is inspected. And the inspection is exactly what is happening here. The two drivers must engage in a perfect handing over. That is to make sure the hoses, the ladders, the dividing bridges, the cutting masses, the branches, and everything that is inside the vehicle is inspected and it is seen to be effective and
Putting out fires is their most common job. However, rescue services during disasters are also part of their operations. PRO Jiba says their work goes beyond just firefighting.
Firemanship is like, it's not only fighting fire, we also do other things such as effecting rescues And when we say rescue, we talk about rescue in well, we talk about rescuing something that is, above on a tree, and we can also rescue things that are dumped inside the toilets, and we can rescue a diversified, nature of materials, whether they are living things or even non-living things. Because a living thing, it's having life. A non-living thing could become a property of somebody, and it is also valuable.
Fire and rescue service work requires proper equipment and human resources to efficiently operate. Kotu Fire Station has one operational fire engine.
Fire service is challenged by traffic congestion, inavailability or insufficient availability of hydrants, callers that will not call at the right time, and those that will call and give us false calls. This used to become my words, and I used to say this is our challenge.
Despite the importance of having a well-equipped fire and rescue service to save lives and property, the Gambia Fire Service lacks basic equipment and have non-operational fire trucks sitting idle at various fire stations, few functioning fire hydrants, and difficulties in accessing some of the fire hydrants due to heavy traffic. They also lack basic gear such as breathing equipment, having limited numbers of helmets and pairs of boots, and many of the hoses used by firefighters are old. Modu Gajaga, QTV News.
Now, residents of Williamkama are calling on the authorities to help fix part of their major road that is in a deplorable state. The road connects them to several communities in the area. Omar Pijalo visited the community and this is his report.
This road connects the community of Williamkama to other communities including Burfoot, Brusubi, Maria Makunda and the Coastal Highway. When we visited the area, we found a traffic diversion because part of the road, approximately 80 meters long, has a big hole dug for construction works. The state of the road is a nightmare to both motorists, pedestrians and residents. Yusfa Jaune, a taxi driver who plies the road, said the condition of the road has caused a great deal of damage to their vehicles, forcing some of them to either use diversions or completely abandon the road.
So
things are very hard on us taxi drivers plying this road due to its poor condition. If the road was good, this would be a short distance and will attract so many other taxi drivers and make traveling easy for the people. Residents like Florinda Mane and Usman Fati says it appears the construction of the road is not going to commence anytime soon. Because over 4 months since the hole was dug, they have seen no sign of workers.
The bad condition of the road has forced so many drivers to abandon the road, while the few using it must divert and go the long way around. We are appealing to the authorities to please fix the road for us.
I am appealing to the government and philanthropists to please help us fix this part of the road. If not, when the rainy season begins, we are going to suffer a lot, particularly when going to school. When fixed and in good condition, the road will help reduce traffic congestion and connect communities to make communication easier. For now, the people of this area are hoping the relevant authorities will hear this plea and fix the road as a matter of urgency. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Well, we now take a look at international news in a moment. Now, in international news, the African Continental Free Trade Area, launched on the 1st of January 2021, is one of the flagship projects of the African Union's Agenda 2063. And according to many experts, the Continental Pact has immense potential to spur economic growth and transform the continent's development prospects. 1 year on, how is it shaping up? Odumboji tells us more.
Its launching came amid fanfare and a pandemic, which has pushed the African continent into its first recession in 25 years, driving up to 40 million people into extreme poverty across the continent and erasing at least 5 years of progress in fighting poverty, according to the World Trade Organization. since trading began on the 1st of January. According to Emir Mondi, FAO's Regional Office for Africa Trade Policy Specialist, some intra-Africa trade has taken place. This assessment, however, is based on anecdotal evidence, since data on trade flows are not yet fully available, he said. The slow start to trading was perhaps unavoidable given the restrictions imposed by the coronavirus pandemic. According to one report, manufacturers in Botswana couldn't supply wiring harnesses for the auto industry in South Africa, a next-door neighbor, because borders were closed, and other COVID-19 related barriers abound around the continent. The pandemic aside, some thorny challenges still need to be thrashed out, according to analysts. They point out that implementing a project of this nature among 54 countries at vastly disparate levels of development, facing different challenges, will be a long and highly contested process. With the exception of Eritrea, all African countries are signatories to the agreement to eliminate import tariffs on 97% of goods traded between African nations, which will in turn boost manufacturing and create jobs, bringing more prosperity and social equality to those on the continent. The World Bank estimates that some 30 million people could be lifted out of extreme poverty, and the pact will boost regional income by 7%, or $450 billion, speed up wage growth for women, and lift wages by 10.3% for unskilled workers and 9.8% for skilled workers. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement wants to do more than just boost trade in goods. Its scope includes services, investment, intellectual property rights, and competition policy, although these aspects are still under negotiation. And still to be constructed are vital infrastructure such as roads, bridges, rail and air routes to make intra-African trade easier. It is still more expensive to fly from Tanzania to DR Congo than from Tanzania to China, Dubai or India, said Tanzanian economist Gabriel Muangomda. Africa currently accounts for just 2% of global trade, and only 17% of African exports are intended for other countries on the continent, well below intracontinental trade in Asia, which stands at 59%, and Europe 68%, according to the World Economic Forum. It remains to be seen whether the agreement will live up to its ambitious billing. For QTV News, I am Mahmoud Mbouch.
And I'm afraid that is all about it. But before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for main headlines. Following the public release of its final report, the TRRC has issued a press release requesting the submission of applications for those seeking amnesty. The deadline for submission of applications is 21st January. The Director of Health Promotions and Education at the Ministry of Health has disclosed that there has been a rapid increase in COVID-19 cases in the Gambia after Christmas and the New Year. As the tourist season gets into full swing, Adam Manjai, the Director of Marketing at GT Board, told us what is being done to ensure tourists come into the country healthy and are safe while on holiday. The PRO of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services has told QTV during a visit to Kotu Fire Station that they carry out their duties with professionalism despite their resource challenges. And in international news, the African Continental Free Trade Area, launched on the 1st of January 2021, is one of the flagship projects of the African Union's Agenda 2063. 1 year on, we looked at how it is shaping. Well, do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Bye for now.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.